Howdy, this is your sailor Piper man, Piper the Sailor Man. I just got my new Peterson, my new Peterson Dublin 408. Putting it through its paces, and it's a damn good pipe. And I just wanted to talk about something that was very important to me as a tobacconist. When I first became a tobacconist, I was not given the name tobacconist. It's called apprenticeship. Only the head tobacconist and the owner of the tobacco store could have given you that name. Before there used to be guilds and things like that back in France, in England, where you did your apprenticeship. We didn't have that in America. So you had to start from the beginning. So in entering the tobacco industry, my first apprenticeship came with my uncles who worked for White Owls and Dutch Masters on the island of Puerto Rico. You know, I'm part Indian, and my uncles or my family from the late 1500s. So I would say to myself, and I'm retired now, but I'm the last one that took interest in tobacco and actually made a small career of it for a while. So the first things my uncles taught me was tobacco, how to grow it, how to plant it, the sun, the water, the different stages of its growth. And something odd, they used to have me taste the tobacco. Or they were growing, they were not pipers, they were tobacco growers. And then I learned a little bit about rolling the tobacco, but I just didn't have the hands for it, nor the interest for it. I would have been poor most of my life unless I was a cigar baron where I owned large portions of land, and my family didn't have large portions of land. So they became foremen. Both of them became foremen, and they would travel from Puerto Rico when the season was ready. They would travel to Cuba and supervise. They would go to Dominican Republic, supervise, and they would head on out to Mexico and some of the other plantations that existed in the New World. I'm talking about 16th century, 17, 18, into the 1940s. By the 1950s, uh, the tobacco industry in Puerto Rico was almost dead. Pre-Castro, it was dying out. And once we lost the Cuban filler from Cuba, we could no longer export Cuba. That killed our industry. And those Cuban tobacco growers ended up in Nicaragua, Santo Domingo, Ecuador, going abroad. Mainly Nicaragua, Honduras put out the best cigars, I personally think. So that's how I got my start in the land community selling. It was used for medicinal purposes too, which is many people have forgotten. There were a lot of recipes that my great grandmother used to have to ward off illnesses with tobacco. Then growing up in America, I became interested in the pipes and colonial periods, and I began learning about the clay pipe, personages in American history, international actors, of course, Errol Flynn, Bing Crosby, and so many others, Sherlock Holmes, great authors, C.S. Lewis, Tolkien. Well, the one that was most interesting to me was Oppenheimer, who helped create and manage the group that created the atomic bomb. I always thought that was interesting. His features, how he smoked. But my all-time favorite was Jacques Cousteau. He gave me a love for pipes and the ocean. I became a sailor, and I loved diving when I was younger. Yeah, I began learning about pipes, learning the history of it, learning the top makers, pipe makers, learned about St. Claude, its history, Peterson, of course, and so many of different pipe companies that began merging, and learning about pipe through the Napoleonic period, through the scientific revolution, through the Reformation. One of my favorite characters was Oliver Cromwell. He used to smoke tobacco. He was a Puritan. So also a lot of Spanish. And then I began learning the companies that began making tobacco, Tabacalera, Cigar Consolidated, Lane Limited, many. There were a lot more now then than now. Making tobacco growers, South North Carolina, St. James, Louisiana, and that's how you got started. Then understanding briar, different types of briars. Why was all this so important as a tobacconist, as an apprenticeship? Because you have to believe in the product. You have to smoke the product. You have to understand the product. You have to respect the industry. It was not basically a tobacconist really loved and had the passion for pipe smoking, cigars, and what he did in the cigar blending, which is what I really loved. And you had to have rapport with people, customers, and and I understood that the reason why I sold more pipes than a lot of other guys is I had a passion for it, and I believed in the product. And that was my success during the time that I was in the industry. That my wife got caught cancer, and I had to spend time with her, and I had to drop out of the industry, and we moved here. Thank God she's still with me. She's well, doing fantastic. She's an RN nurse. So that was my secret, to have passion for the briar, for smoking, camaraderie, fellowship, and understanding the long history and respecting that history of pipe smokers and pipes, and the makers and the cutters and the blenders and the sellers, those that are